Mannequin Chill. We are live. It is October the 15th, 2025. This is the week 7 edition of the show. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you're watching this on replay, make sure to like, subscribe, consider becoming a member. We have some members in here already that are hitting us up in the chat. If you're a member, you get access to the Trinity shows. You get access to the Dynasty Deal Show every Friday night where we rip through as many trades as we can get to. Those are the perks if you join the Trade and Chill tier. The link is in the description. And Shane, before we get started, what do you want to plug? We've already gone off the rails, and we are 48 seconds in.
More perks. I will send you more shirtless pictures of me, and I'll find some of Scott and send them to you as well. There you go.
Whew. Well, the sub count's going to go down after that.
Boom, boom, boom.
Jane threatened to send shirtless pictures to the subscribers. Our members. Wonder why that happened. Anyway, consider joining if you want those shows. If not, jump into our community, patreon.com/allgas or ddfantasyfootball.com. At ddfantasyfootball.com, you can get a roster review. We've been ripping roster reviews, Shane. We've had like 5 in the last week. They've just been back to back. This is the time where people want to know, what the hell do I do, Shane? What do I do?
Well, apropos of the thumbnail, it's a great time to pick a lane. It is time to come to a realization. Either you can push forward or you can't, right? It's week 7. Is it week 7 tomorrow? So that leaves us, what, six more games to the playoffs? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 7 more games to the playoffs. So you really got to start pushing. And, you know, I don't know if you have a problem with this. I often have problems making smaller moves. I don't have a problem making big trades. Like just the big, like, oh my God, I can't believe we just did that. Was that really that smart? Or you know what I mean? Like the fire emojis. I have problems being able to make those trades that no one notices in the trade thing. Although I made one today, and I never do it. I made a big trade today. I traded a third for Nick Chubb. So I have trouble with those trades, though. I can't wrap my brain around them for some reason.
See, and I'm the opposite. I mean, this is how we're going to start this show tonight, because all I'm looking to do is survive without having to make the big move, without having to commit long-term, whether that's my injured superstars, whether that's my draft capital, whether it's some combination or both. Because I do think we're early enough in the offseason, and I'm speaking to the teams right now that are early enough in the season to where you do have to pick a lane eventually. But I think over the next 2 weeks, especially if you're sitting at 2-4, if you're sitting at 3-3, even 4-2, but you have a couple injuries, you're probably not wanting to go in the opposite direction right now. But sometimes that's what it takes to get like one of these big deals that Shane is talking about done, right? But I'm sitting here. I mean, I texted you earlier today, and I'm literally looking at our lineup for the one league that we co-own. Believe it or not, we only have one team, and it's actually gone pretty well. Like, I think we both just kind of make decisions and tell the other person later, I dropped that guy. Oh, well. Yeah. But, like, it's a league where I don't think we necessarily planned on competing, but we never really talked about it. We just built the strategy that we did, and it's worked out kind of thus far. But I'm looking at teams like that are, I think that team is 7-5 with the median. So we're 4-2, 3-3, somewhere in between there, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not ready to push our first round pick in. We're not ready to start trading all of our injured players. But at the same time, like, I'm looking at my starting lineup week to week and going, well, I lost this guy. I don't really want to pay my first to replace an injured player that's only going to be out a month or even a couple games. Even though I do need, if I'm 3-3, I do need to win at least one of the next 2 to make me feel like I'm on track to be a buyer coming down the stretch, right? But I'm looking at what can I buy cheap, Shane? There's a lot of teams that right now have like a 2-week window to make these decisions, and it fits perfectly because we have a bunch of guys that are going to be out for a game or 2. And then they're going to potentially come back. And if you can stave that off, like, I would ask you, what do you do with Puka Nacua or Emeka Egbuka? They might be out 2-3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to trade them, but like, would you even explore trading them if you needed to win over these next couple of weeks? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, let's see if I have Sleeper up. I definitely traded both of those guys yesterday.
We never rehearsed this topic. Shane has already moved on.
Literally, where is it? I'm trying to find the Puka trade. Oh, here's the Emeka Buka trade. So, me and Gabe made this deal. I gave
You
up
heart
Emeka.
Gabe?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
from
Gabe too. He's a
great
great co-host on the trade show.
Yeah, all gas trade show. So I gave up Emeka Buka and RJ Harvey and got back BTJ and Travis Etienne.
So what was it again? You gave up Ibuka and RJ Harvey?
RJ Harvey and Ibuka. And I got, what did I just say? Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Etienne.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much of that was you wanted the upgrade off of Harvey?
Mm-hmm.
More so than you wanted the BTJ Ibuka swap? Because I think you like BTJ, but I think that's probably the one where most people would say a big component of the deal. But did you need ET? Did you need a running back you can start confidently over the next couple of weeks? Is that one of the reasons you did that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes, I did. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And just real quick, guys. Yeah, I see YouTube's acting up. I don't know what's going on. It's not us. It's YouTube. Screen's going black sometimes.
I'm going to go put this on YouTube and see if anything comes up to me.
A couple people can't see us. But anyway.
When I lag in a second because I'm trying to watch our show while we're streaming it. Let's see if that actually works. No, continue.
Yeah, I always do that. There's some weird error, playback error. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, it was obviously I'm high on BTJ, right? I'm still high on BTJ. And the last 2 weeks have given me the confidence that he's going to bounce back to what he is. And I don't know that Emeka Buka is going to regress exactly, but he's been running really hot, and you can't run that hot unless you're Calvin Johnson or Randy Moss. And I don't believe he's either of those two players. He's probably going to dip at some point. And he's not going to be playing next week, and I don't know when he'll be playing again. So, yeah, it's all videos right now. YouTube is doing its own thing. So, yeah. And then the upgrade from Harvey to Etienne, because Harvey, and I like Harvey a lot, but Harvey's just an absolute zero right now. He's absolutely useless on your roster. It's almost better not having him on the roster because then you can't accidentally start him. You're not tempted because he's not on your team. So there's no temptation to start him.
That is a good point because I think I have a couple teams where I've started Harvey at least half the weeks thus far, just thinking, man, I'm going to catch the week. You know what I mean? Especially in that one game against the Bengals where he actually was usable.
Yeah.
I think a couple leagues I didn't start in that week because he hadn't done anything. You know what I mean? And then you're like, ugh, I put him back in. So he seems like one of those guys thus far that you've either jammed in there because of what you think he could be. And any given week, he could bust out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Sure,
but how many weeks are you going to eat of him getting 3, 4, 5, 6 points before you're like, I probably should have just started that other guy instead. So I'm
and that's even worse, right? Is when you have that big week or that week that makes them usable, because it's like, what do I can't do anything with this. You know what I mean? Like it forces me to think that he's going to be usable. All it takes is give him 10 touches and all of a sudden he's going to be usable, when unfortunately that's just not the case. That's just not what's going to happen. Well, I did make a deal. All right, hold on. Let me find the Puka deal I made. But yeah, so RJ Harvey right now, unfortunately, is a nothing. And that doesn't mean I don't like Harvey. I still have him in 6 leagues. So that's part of it too, right? Like I'm willing to move on from him because I do play in a lot of leagues. So I won't have the FOMO. You know what I mean? That's what it was. I gave up Puka in a second, and I got back CMC and Rashee Rice.
Okay.
Or Rashi, if you want to say his name correctly. Rashee Rice.
I mean, you're splitting, but you're probably splitting for a lot more points. And you are trading away a guy that's not going to probably help you for the next 2-3 weeks. And so
maybe
it's a gamble, but at the same time, it could be one where, again, was it a team where you had to get at least a win over the next week? Like, was it a middling team or?
I mean, let's see where I'm at records wise. Probably not. I'm 5-1. But even with that 5-1, I think I'm in 4th. It's one of those leagues where everybody's good at the top. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm 4th at 5-1. And then there are 2 teams right after that, 4-2, then 1 team 3-3. So it's pretty bunched. It's pretty bunched up. So yeah, I'm 5-1, which sounds great until you look and I'm the worst 5-1 team.
Yeah, it's weird because I went through a lot of rosters, and I think this year, just because I've been going thinner at receiver with a lot of my teams this year, like, believe it or not, when I lose a guy like Calvin Ridley, you're like, oh, I kind of need somebody else instead of him. Like, he's not my third guy off the bench because I've typically built my teams a little slimmer at receiver where I only have maybe 5 receivers total. And you may have 1 or 2 on a bye or another one that's injured, etc. So I've actually been more looking to replace those types of guys, which has probably put me more in the buying market, which is why I think, and maybe it was a subconscious thing knowing we have the Trinity, but I think with that, you can kind of spot some of these receiver potential spikes a little bit easier than maybe we could in the past.
Mm-hmm.
At least I'm willing to buy into it a little more. So using that has allowed me to take some shots at some receivers, whether this week, next week, whether it's for a week or two, that in the past I wouldn't, because I mean, let's be real, Shane. He could be okay for the rest of the year, but like, buying Kendrick Bourne for any pick, you're buying a roster clogger at some point, whether that's next week, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Like, you're getting a player. You're going to go, what do I do with him in April? You're going to be tempted to cut him for a UDFA pickup. You know what I mean?
So someone on the way home, this turned into the Nick Chubb trade. And this is why it's always good to respond to trade offers. But so anyway, someone offered me Kendrick Bourne for Mac Jones. I don't want to move Mac Jones for that. Like, that's not how I'm using Mac Jones. You know what I mean? And I know Mac Jones is probably done starting for the rest of this year at this point. But, he's definitely got more longevity to him than Kendrick Bourne probably. But, so I countered. And the compromise we came to after that was he messaged me and said, dude, do you just want like Bourne or Nick Chubb? Basically, I'm just trying to get a third for these guys. Like, literally just that. Just, all right. Yeah, I'll take Nick Chubb. Like, of the two, I'm like, neither of them probably have long-term value. Well, not neither, likely. They don't have long-term value. But one of them, I think, at least can give me a lot of production this year. Or a lot of production is a strong word. But he should be able to give me a couple weeks of strong production.
Yeah, it's interesting because with the deal like that, Mac Jones has some residual value, right? Even if he's just a backup quarterback, he has some residual value to where it's not that he's worth anything when he's not starting, but you're okay carrying him on your roster when he's not starting. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
I don't really want to carry a lot of Kendrick Bournes when they're not playing, injured, not on a team, not involved. Like, those are the types of players that are your first cuts, which makes it dangerous when you start collecting a lot of these receivers, because I already know my brain is going to be willing when we get to the off season. Like, let me look right now. I'm not going to pull it up because I don't want to share my screen because of didn't have a fun experience trying to share my screen on the Ben Baldwin analytics site the other day when I was doing the Trinity show. Kind of broke the vibe a little bit, but I'm looking right now, Shane, at aside from best ball, I'm rostering more of these like middling receivers that are getting usage than I ever have before. Like, there's some best ball mixed in here, but like, you could probably started a guy like Olamide Zaccheaus if you had to, and at least getting opportunity. He doesn't do a lot with it, but like, he's probably just as likely to have a random 15, 20 point game as you're probably going to find in a backup running back, unless the backup running back's getting a start. So I have actually been willing to roster more of those types of receivers this year. I mean, him, the Jaguars receivers, or other ones like Washington and Diami Brown, like, their usage is okay. I would use them in certain situations. Keyshawn Boutte, I saw a question in the chat on Keyshawn Boutte. That's another one, great games, and then 4 games where he really hasn't done much. But what does the Trinity say? Not every week is he great, but he's had a couple weeks where you're like, man, they're using him better than Stephon Diggs. And he's got a clearly defined role. So I would never have rostered those types of guys before. I would have continued to just jam in the same.
Because we call them roster cloggers, right?
Well, yes. And I would have been willing to just jam in the same dynasty value receivers over and over and over. I'm going to put this up. I don't love answering start-sit questions this early in the week, but here we go. Look at this. Travis Hunter versus Keyshawn Boutte. The me of old, Shane, if I would have drafted Travis Hunter, you know what I would have done? Started
slamming him in there.
Yeah. Just kept putting him in there because he's a good dynasty receiver, and that's the way I built my team. But now I'm more willing to say, okay, I want to have Travis Hunter on some teams. There's probably some builds where it makes a little more sense to have him. If I was really slim at receiver and I got the opportunity to draft him, I might have done it on a team like that. But on a team where I already have receiver covered, like I don't want to have guys like Boutte on my bench if I can't use him.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons the team I mentioned earlier that we've been successful. And our receivers are not good. But you know what we've had, Shane? We've had to start Boutte in the games when he's
we've captured
because we don't have anybody else.
We've captured every single one of their high war weeks, man. Every one of them. Like when you look at the war chart over a season and you're like, yeah, but how much of that did you actually get? We got a lot for these wide.
Same with Keenan Allen. He was our best receiver, and we've started him every week. Now he's been good and healthy, and I don't know how long that continues. But having him was valuable because we were forced to play him. We were never guessing, do we flex him over this guy or flex him over that guy? Mm-hmm. We've missed a couple points on tight end, but I think the idea was we purposely build our team to play in this temporary market.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, there's probably a manager in a lot of leagues that is desperate to trade a guy like Kendrick Bourne. You know what I mean? They don't want to give him away for nothing, but they may say, like, if I can get a third for him, I will give you a third. I will take a third. I just want him gone. He's had his weeks. I don't think it continues. And all you have to do is have some conviction on his usage going forward, and you can probably start Kendrick Bourne the rest of the year.
Yeah.
He may never have another top 10 week, but I can probably get some use out of him for the price of a third, probably similar to how we would have viewed spot start running backs in the past. So it's an interesting debate. What else? What else you want to talk about? What's in the chat? We got stunned by the YouTube crash. There's a couple comments in here and there. You want to put any up there?
Let's just stay on topic. Travis Hunter on that Treylon Burks trajectory. Get him off my teams. I mean, what's funny is I've seen Treylon Burks picked up off of waivers in a couple leagues, and I thought maybe
why are people doing that?
Because he's healthy now.
Apparently healthy, even though he's not on his
visiting
team.
Teams. He's been visiting teams. I legitimately forgot that he wasn't on Tennessee anymore. So I almost picked him up. I almost went to go pick him up because I went, well, Tennessee's a dumpster fire. Like
the best situation for him to get some opportunity would probably be where he was, right?
Right. But people are picking him up. Look, Travis Hunter was always going to be, and we should have realized this. And there's lots of things we should have realized in hindsight that make a lot more sense. We should have realized it's not going to be Travis Hunter comes out and just blows the doors off as a receiver, because that's not what they drafted him for. Just that. They drafted him because he can play both positions. And what's funny is up until the draft, I kept saying to myself, and then I failed later, but I kept saying, and not to myself, but to anyone that would listen, like the higher he goes, probably the worse it is for him for fantasy, because he's not worth a top 10 pick as a wide receiver in and of himself. If he goes that high, it means they're going to use him for both. You know what I mean? They're going to use him both ways, and that's what they're doing. And look, there's a reason that no one else has ever done this since the 1940s, when people stopped smoking on the field and stuff. But it's just it's hard to do. So, and he's struggling as a wide receiver, although we did see some flashes the other night, right?
Yeah, he's always been one of the most polarizing ones, and I don't see a way that it stops anytime soon either, unless the team fully commits to one side or the other. It kind of feels like, and maybe it's a good thing for the Jaguars to figure out what he's best at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're probably not complaining about necessarily how he's performed thus far. Like he hasn't broken the league, but like I wonder if the team has any regrets with how they've used him based on how they picked him, what they paid, etc. Like I wonder if they have any regrets, or if this was part of the plan all along. If we had known all this stuff, we would have adjusted quicker, probably.
I think this has been their plan. I bet you they wish that it would have worked out a little better so far at wide receiver, but I think this was in the plans. Like this is kind of what they expected, right? He's playing both ways, and he plays more on defense when needed.
You think it was one of those where like we were going to try with this and see if he just completely came out the gates way better at one than the other, and that hasn't happened? Kind of like, we're not going to commit anything yet, we're just going to continue with the process? Because I can't imagine if he would have come out and just absolutely lit it up on one side or the other, they would have continued really taking that away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like you wanted to give him the chance to do that, and then when it's clear that he's not like an all-pro corner, an all-pro receiver to start, then maybe we let him maybe grow into a different role going forward. So,
yeah, no. Here's a fun one. So you just talked about him a little bit. So what is Butte? Buy, sell, hold?
I mean, check out the Trinity shows that we did, because I think he's one of those ones where I talked about it a few weeks ago. The Patriots are, I don't want to crown Drake May a truck yet, but the way that he's playing, his passing efficiency is top 3. Their neutral pass rate is top 12. And those are 2 of the 3 things that I look for offensive environments, right? Like, you want to have a efficient passer. You want to be able to do it at a higher volume. So not plays per game, just how frequently in certain game scripts are they just choosing to throw over run. That's going to kind of indicate, usually over a long period of time, how much volume a quarterback's going to throw. And then the third component would be just the number of plays that the Patriots are running per game. And so when all of those things are positive, that's the kind of environment, Shane, where you can drag 3 different weapons. Now, he's clearly, I think, the third option. I would still probably say, if I had to pick in a tight end premium that matters, I would put Diggs and Henry over Butte. But he is pulled himself up into that range where, if I have to start the third option on a team, this is one of the 8 to 10 teams in the league where I want to start the third option when the usage is that different from all the other options. This isn't a team where the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th weapon are all the same.
No.
He's the clear third option. They don't really use running backs. They don't have any other receivers. I mean, Pop Douglas's Trinity is like a 2 for the season. So yeah, he's out there, but like he's in the perfect environment. Does that make him a buy, a sell, or a hold? I think it comes down to earlier what we talked about. Do you need him? Look at your team. There's a few teams where, like, I actually sent out an offer today for Butte. Then I looked at my team and I go, why am I sending an offer for Butte? I have 5 receivers above him. It's a point per carry league where I'm flexing running backs. He wouldn't crack my lineup. You know what I mean? I looked on my bench, and you know who's on my bench? Jacoby Myers. And if Jacoby Myers goes somewhere else, I would start him over Butte. So why am I trading for another receiver when I already have a guy like Jacoby Myers and I'm never starting him? It's like, that's the one where, like, okay, in that case, if I had him, he would be a sell. I don't want to hold him unless I have a path where I can use him, and he wouldn't be a buy. But the team like you and I have, we may need another Butte in 2 weeks, Shane.
Yeah, that's a guy. Yeah, that's someone I'll add.
We could go buy. He would be a buy on that type of team. You know what I mean?
Yep. And he, I was just looking at that. Butte and Hunter Henry, both above the regression line. They're literally ass to ass, like this. Here's Hunter Henry. Here's Butte. Instead of just sharing the screen, and then way over there is Steph Diggs. I mean, he was the number 1 target last week. But to your point, yeah, Demario Douglas and who's the other guy that was there? Kyle Williams. Like, they're just not going to get used like that. Matt Collins. Demario Douglas had he had one nice week by accident, and Matt Collins did have a couple weeks where his what do you call that? His snap share was pretty high, but it looks like they're peeling that back now.
This is a good point too. Troy Franklin, another one, kind of fits in the Butte mold. The problem is though, and I'm going to look it up. So if you want to continue with a comment, I'm going to look something up here real quick. Go ahead.
No, I looked up Troy Franklin and Troy Franklin. Jesus Christmas.
With a W?
I'm having trouble speaking. So he's like above a wide receiver 3 or at least to the right of that, but he's below the regression line. But he's not alone there, because also with him is Evan Ingram. But then Cortland Sutton's above it, and who's this? Marvin Mims is just on it. So that actually kind of tells me Bo Nix might be a problem. I mean,
well, so
it's a problem, but it ain't.
I'm literally looking up the passing efficiency numbers. So this year, of quarterbacks that have thrown at least or played at least 100 snaps behind center. So it filters out like 1 week spot starters and stuff. Who is, well, this is funny. Cam Ward is actually not the worst quarterback anymore. He has been replaced by Dylan Gabriel, who is far worse.
Let's go Dylan
Aside
Gabriel.
from that, where do you think Bo Nix ranks of the 34 quarterbacks that have hit that criteria? Where do you think
in efficiency?
Quarterback efficiency. Yep. This is the stat that Drake made number. And impressively, Drake May has done it. So number 1 and number 2 is Sam Darnold and Jordan Love. Historically, Jordan Love is always pretty high. Sam Darnold has been incredibly efficient this year. But Drake May has done it on 60 plus more snaps under center than those guys.
Much more impressive.
So like the volume is higher. The plays are higher. So his efficiency is a little bit higher when it's on par with guys that have run a lot less plays. But where do you think Bo Nix ranks? Curious.
26th.
Close. He's a little higher, but not much. He is 23rd. So the way that I read that is like, okay, Bo Nix is not the worst. He is much closer to, like, put it this way. He is much closer to Pat Mahomes, who ranks top 10, than he is to, well, I guess depends on how you want to point the median, but he's just as close to Pat Mahomes as he is Dylan Gabriel. Okay. So it's not like he's a complete train wreck, but he's probably in the range. If you look at where the median is in these numbers, the median is probably somewhere around quarterback 18, 19, 20. So like you're getting slightly below average efficiency from Bo Nix. Okay. So now where do you think the Broncos rank in neutral passing rate? So just when the game script is not a blowout one way or the other, and they've been in one blowout. Even the first week when they played the Titans was not a blowout. So really just that Bengals game where they were up 3 scores the whole game. But like where do you think the Broncos rank? Just curious, because I haven't even looked it up. I'm looking right now.
18th.
Okay, 18th, and then we'll look into some specifics because this is kind of fun to do. This is back to the conversation about Butte and Troy Frank. This is the way that I kind of determine which one of these situations, aside from Trinity, which one of these situations do I even want to look at the Trinity and figure out this is the one that's been giving me trouble. Come on. Okay, here we go. Denver. So Denver is currently, I had to scroll down a little ways to find them. Where are they? Okay, right in the middle.
Yeah.
3.9%. They're right in the middle. They're not pass heavy, but they're also not, if you go to the very bottom, it's literally the teams you would expect. And you know what's funny? Here's the bottom 5 teams, Shane. In basically, these teams are allergic to throwing. You want to know who they are? The Jets. That's probably good for them, right? Just because of who's throwing. The Lions. The Lions are the lowest. Now, the good thing is when the Lions throw, it's good. So it's like, the Lions have always been bottom 5. The Lions purposely don't throw a lot because they do get a lot of big plays, but like they don't want to throw Jared Goff 50 times a game, 45 times a game. Like when they throw, they want it to be maximal efficiency when they throw. The Ravens, they're always up there. The Seahawks, given coach came from Baltimore, doesn't shock me that they're like that. And then the 5th team is the Raiders, who, like the Jets, also suck. So the Raiders were top 3 in the first 2 weeks, and now they're bottom 4. And
they're like,
neither one working. So,
Gino, stop throwing. Yeah, Gino, stop throwing. We need you to stop.
Back, Troy Franklin's Trinity is not as Kayshon Boutte, right? Mm-hmm. There's a little more concentration issues on the Broncos. It's not a clear top 3. And the efficiency for mix is below average, and the neutral pass rate is not nearly as high as the Patriots. That's where I kind of determine which guys I want to buy. Some of these fringe receivers. We didn't mention this, but you know who is a guy I'm willing to start this week if Marv doesn't play? Give me all the Zay Jones. All of it. His Trinity literally was what Marv's was. The Cardinal North End neutral pass rate. Their quarterback efficiency was 14th on the week last year with Brissett, which is 10 spots higher than Kyler has been all year. So Zay Jones is a spot start. I said it on the Trinity show. Like that is the guy this week I want to pick up and start. Not Cameron Johnson, not even Tez Johnson. Zay Jones. And if you told me you can get a top 36 week out of Zay Jones this week, Shane, think about how much of a steal that is, considering literally can be had for what, 1.5 fab? You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's huge. Like we cannot measure how impactful that is if you can somehow get like 17 points out of a waiver receiver that you picked up for 2 fab and you captured the one game that you knew when you could probably start them and it worked.
Right.
If it doesn't work, fine. But how many good receivers that you jam in there every week also get you 5, like a bad Zay Jones game would be? So long diatribe, but yeah, that's why Troy Franklin is no Kayshon Boutte. I guess that's the takeaway.
So we like him more than Kayshon. Well, obviously.
Less.
Yeah. Less.
I like
him
Kayshon
more.
better.
Oh,
He's
see,
probably
that's
we'll see. Okay, let me ask you this. Why?
because he's younger and he that's all I got. That's all I got. I got nothing. Literally nothing.
And that's a good lesson in why that's true. You know why it's true? Because Kayshon Boutte had some very low moments, and you remembered those, and you remember that he was a lower draft pick than Troy Franklin, and you just probably have more positive memories in your mind of Troy Franklin than Kayshon Boutte. So that's still in your mind. But when it comes to receivers, you got to forget all that. These guys don't have dynasty value. They do not have residual value.
This is true. There is no value. The value is made up in your own head, and you'd be better served with players like this, just looking at the production value, because that's probably going to be the most useful. Because it's not like this time next year I'll be able to turn around and trade Troy Franklin for anything significant. But also, Kayshon kind of personally offended me because after week 1, I did Shane Says for our patrons, and I talked about how he was one of the wide receivers that showed out in week 1 that could probably maintain that based off his snap share and his routes going back to the previous season and his scoring going back to the previous season. And then he went out and immediately bombed every week until last week. So, yeah.
I mean, doesn't it feel like, though, if you can look back at the end of the year and say Kayshon Boutte is this year's Alec Pierce? If you could learn anything from Alec Pierce last year with how many games he had where it was like, oh my God, Alec Pierce is a top 8 receiver. And then the next 3 games, he does nothing. Think about that. Just think about that type of profile. And sometimes it's hard to predict who those guys are going to be, come from. Nobody thought it would be Alec Pierce last year. Everyone thought it would be somebody else. I don't know if anybody had it pegged to be Kayshon Boutte this year. But I think the point is, like, when you see those seasons happening, I fully expect that if you buy Kayshon Boutte and you're willing to start him the rest of, you are going to be disappointed with 70% of the times you start him. But it is so impactful to get the 3 more games he has that he has 18 plus points. Because with his usage, if it continues, he will have a few more where you're like, wow, he got 90 yards and a touchdown. Like, that's usable. But you have to capture it. Because you already know this type of receiver has no value. There is nobody that's going to, I mean, I just mentioned Alec Pierce. Did anybody come into this year buying Alec Pierce because he can build on last year? Did you ever hear that one time?
No. I had hopes, but no.
But you never heard that ever. So it doesn't even matter what he did last year. There was no building on it this year. He was right back in the same spot. And hell, it appears like, he's clearly ahead of AD Mitchell. Like, Alec Pierce is kind of the same thing this year, even though there's a lot more to go around with the Colts. So it's important to realize these receivers never have any true dynasty value. There is no, I mean, maybe if you can find a sucker that goes, ooh, Boutte had a good year, I'll give you a 3rd and next draft season. Like, that's the best case scenario. So you might as well just play these guys week to week. And I saw the comment from Steve-O, Zay Jones is a non-participant. Listen, here's the narrative on Zay Jones, Shane. He's going to be so important to them this week that they have to give him those veteran rest days today. Because they're going to need him. They're going to need to force feed him this week. You're speechless.
I am. They're going to force feed him.
That's why they're sitting him out today. This is the Wednesday. He needs rest just to rest the injuries that he's been probably dealing with his whole career. But he's going to be so important they had to give him the day off, even if he probably could have practiced. That's what I'm going to say until I hear or otherwise. Back in there.
That's what I'm telling myself. So
talk about Hendo. True. I saw this comment in there. I don't want to necessarily answer the trade question specifically, but like Henderson, I've seen some people that are like, it's time to move off, and you moved up Harvey. What's the thought there?
I'd move off Henderson in the same way. Now, I I don't have as much Henderson, so maybe I'd be a little. No, I would move him off of him the exact same way I did Harvey. If I can still use him as a countable piece, a countable asset, I'm going to move him. Again, I mean, I'm not just moving him to move him. It's for a purpose. If I have an actual need and he helps fills it. But I mean, again, we expect rookie running backs to come in and immediately smash, right? That's the thought. And when they don't, it's almost like they're punished even more than another running back that doesn't produce out of the box.
You want to hit some Hendo trades?
How does it get better though? This is what I'm thinking. Short of Mike Vrabel just completely changing his mind, it can't get better because Ramondre Stevenson has done everything short of fuck Mike Vrabel's wife in front of him to lose that job. Like he's fumbled like 3 different games, right? Like 3 different games he's fumbled. He's cost him a game from his fumbling. He fumbled repeatedly last year. The dude, I liked Stevenson. The dude can't hold on to the football. Like he's an absolute like it's just he shouldn't be the starter there. In any other sane world, Mike Vrabel is a blockhead. I really don't like him. He's a meathead who brain cells don't work. In any sane coaching society, they would probably go, you know what? Let's stop giving the ball to this guy that fumbles all the time and give it to the other kid. Unless Henderson is just so bad in practice from what they see that they can't put him out there. And apparently his pass protection is that bad that they can't even put him out there. So what are you going to do? Anyway.
Well, so here was the question. Jacobs over Hendo. Why not?
Yes.
And well, but let's talk through the why.
Oh.
If you're trading away Henderson, you are betting that there is not a elite outcome that you're trading away, right? Even if he turns it around, even if he gets better, you're not trading away the next super stud running back, right? If you think that, if you really look back in the deep part of your dynasty brain and you are scared you're trading away the next Jahmyr Gibbs or Devon Achane, then don't do it. If you truly believe that's in his range of outcomes with what you've seen thus far through 6 weeks, don't trade him. But if you don't think that's true, and I think we have enough information to say that's probably not what he's going to be. He could be a good running back that has an okay career, maybe even an above average career, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to trade away somebody that is going to break the league. So if you acknowledge that that's not his range of outcomes, all you're looking at I don't care about running back value more than a year or 2 out. Yes, am I worried if Jacobs, something happens to him tomorrow, I'd never be able to move him for what he could be for my team? Of course. But like, I don't view this as its dynasty value. How many times have you heard me talk about this? Like, running backs don't have dynasty value, except for the guys at the very top where they could afford a mishap or two, and people will still go, you know what, I can build my team around Bijan, even if he has a torn ACL. And we've seen, even if the worst case scenario happened to something like Bijan or Gibbs, right? You know, they hurt their ankle. Let's say they have one of those ankle injuries where it's like an 8 to 12 week injury, right? People would still be a little skeptical of, well, is he going to be 100% when he recovers? But like, that's the best case scenario. Otherwise, what is the risk? What is the risk of swapping Henderson for Josh Jacobs or for McCaffrey or something like that? There isn't any.
The only risk is, like you said, the only risk is that he turns into Achane. He turns into Gibbs. He turns into, I mean, Bijan would be next level thinking, but or dreaming. But that's the only thing. It's funny is that I was curious, so I just looked up Devon Achane, who I loved since he came out of college more than anyone else in the world. And I was about to say, well, he didn't start off all that hot, right? Did he? He had 203 rushing yards, 101 and 151 yards in his first game, 3 games. So 4 games. 3 out of his first 4 games, because his first game was the game they gave him 1 attempt. So yeah, he showed it kind of early. Like someone pointed it out a couple seconds ago. Yeah, his run chart, and I'm sure everybody saw that on Twitter. His run chart is literally right up the gut. Like that's just what they're doing with him, which is wild to me with a player like that. I don't know how we don't try to get him out in space, but whatever. I still like Hendo. I still would buy him. I wouldn't love giving him up for Jacobs, but I would give him up for Jacobs. You know, I'm trying to win this year. Why wouldn't I move him?
Well, and to this
Jacobs,
point, in most leagues, Jacobs and CMC are on good contending teams. And here's the thing. If the analysis is as simple as, and just hear me out on this process. If the analysis is the team that's 6-0 cannot give up McCaffrey because he's so good, we're not playing Dynasty. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That means they're basically saying, I don't care about Henderson's future value at all. 0. So if you really think about it through that lens, why do we hold players just because we had an expectation here and now it might be here? I don't hold those players in a certain regard, because I can see where people are kind of paralyzed with Henderson. I've heard people say I have no choice but just to hold on to him. But what are you expecting to see from him that makes you change your mind whether you're going to hold on to him or not? Really, what you're expecting to see if you've been holding on to Henderson, Shane, is he has a good game and his role changes so you can keep him, right? So you can feel better when you sleep at night. He's on 20% of your rosters or however many you have. That's all. You're not actually trying to play the market because you've already made up your mind that the market is too low to him right now. So that's interesting. I have some Hendo trades. I want to run them through them, see if these are any that would be interesting to you if you were, let's just say, neutral. You're one of those teams in the middle. Here's a crazy one. Travion Henderson or Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt and a third?
Hendo.
Okay, so that's one where if you could add a guy like JCM, you would do that to get Hendo?
No, yeah. If I have to add a third to get Hendo to JCM, yeah.
Yes.
All day.
So even if you're using JCM and you're 5-1, 4-2, you're doing that deal just to take the shot?
Yeah. Now there's a couple caveats to that, right? Part of that thinking is you didn't expect JCM to be your running back 2 or 3 when you drafted him. So your roster is not constructed in that way, right? I don't want to say he's gravy, but the chances are is that he's a flex. He's one of your last flex. Hopefully. I mean, injuries come for everybody. Who knows? I don't know what your running back room looks like, but most likely you're set up that he wasn't supposed to be what he is. So you can afford to move him. Now, I'm not saying you should or should not. Me personally, yes, I would move him for that.
Dude, these are good. You ready? Breece Hall or Hendo straight up?
Breece.
Okay. 12 by 10. These are all 12 by 10, 12 by 11. I sold Henderson. I got RJ Harvey in a first.
Yeah, RJ Harvey in the first, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, that's like the dream deal, right? Because it feels like if you trade that deal, you get a first and then you inherit the exact same bet that you traded away.
Okay, so let me understand this. RJ Harvey isn't producing, so I'm going to move him off my team and use a first to go get Henderson.
A guy who's producing actually less.
Yes, there's no discount there. That makes that's someone that was so mad that they didn't get the draft Henderson in the rookie draft that they've been plotting almost that it could happen.
That was 3 days ago. So that's with all the information we're currently talking with on this stream. Somebody made that deal on Monday. So
interesting.
Here's some ones I think you would definitely do. Someone gave up J-Mo and Marvin Mims for Hendo.
J-Mo and Marvin Mims for Hendo. Yeah, I'll do that.
Would you give up? It's an interesting one. If you're scared of Henderson, would you give up Henderson and Rashid Shaheed to get Bucky Irving?
Not right now because Bucky's
Bucky injury worry you a little bit?
It should, right? Because
it seems like it's all mysterious. They've worked out a bunch of running backs, and honestly, the running backs they have on their team, believe it or not, have been decent when he's not there. So,
they already ruled him out yesterday. Literally, the first time a real practice report is due for the week, and they were like, nope, just no, he's not playing this week. You don't want to give him any chances.
Wasn't his initial injury day to day, and then now it's turned into month to month?
It was something like that, but I think it was pretty quick.
A second opinion, wasn't that it?
Yeah,
something like
that.
Yeah,
it was pretty quickly the next day where it was oh, this might be a little something more than just a sprain or whatever. Thing is, they haven't put him on the IR. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway, so what was it? I'm giving Hendo and what to get Bucky?
Hendo and Rashid Shaheed.
I'm gonna hold. Yeah, because that's the thing. I'm trading for immediate production. Bucky ain't giving me that. He's not.
Yeah, and you'll kick yourself if the Hendo game happens while Bucky's still injured. You gave up the piece on the wrong side. So I that one too. Here's an interesting one. Would you send a first? Well, let's just start with the first. Would you send a random first for Henderson at this point? 5th place team. Would you send that first for him? You're in the playoffs, but you're not like coasting to the top 2.
I'd be hard pressed because I'm probably looking to add something that actually adds value to my roster right now.
So you would not add a first to Chuba Hubbard for Travion Henderson?
No, but if you were going to move a first for Henderson, adding Chuba doesn't matter. Rico Dowdle has shown that Chuba is not needed.
Okay.
He's not going to go anywhere.
I assume you would sell Henderson for a mid-first and a second?
Yes, I do that.
This is the favorite trade right here. I think your take on this one has to be a little different after this week's thumbnail. Would you trade Cam Scatterboo for Travion Henderson straight up?
No, yes, I would.
You'd rather have Henderson?
Yes.
Ooh.
I'm gonna.
A lot of people would disagree with you. I think I've seen people with Scatterboo top 10 rest of the year.
Oh, I know. No doubt. Everybody loves him because he's going to get 3 rushing attempts from the 1 every game. Absolutely every game. The Giants are definitely going to be up 20 points in the 4th quarter, so he gains 60 of his 90 rushing yards every game.
He gets the Eagles again in 2 weeks. That's a big spike week game.
And the Eagles' defense is somehow going to be worse because Zadarius Smith retired right after that game. He was like, "Nope, I'm out, bro." You could probably right now trade Cam for Travion plus. You could.
Yeah. And it sounds like you would just take any plus, right?
Most likely. Yeah.
You just said you'd do it straight up. So I'll give you
yeah.
I'll give you a 4th. You give me that you don't even like 4ths.
Look,
but a 4th, I guess, is technically a plus.
Saigon. I'd love to get Scatterboo for Henderson. Look, I get it. Look, Scatterboo is definitely going to give you work volume this year. He is definitely going to give you that volume. We comped him to Rashad White. So imagine Rashad White, except Bucky Irving's not coming back. So
have you seen the thumbnail?
There he is. Yep. Me and him just hanging out shirtless. Yeah, I mean, he's going to give you Rashad White production at least all year, probably, without Bucky Irving. Yeah, you know what? Let me think this through. I haven't hit accept yet. I'll think about this. I might hold on to Cam. Here's the thing about Cam. I could hold on to Cam, and Cam could have a couple bad weeks, and no one would care. And then I could still move Cam for Hendo later if I really wanted to. I'll hold on to Cam in this. I've been talked into it by myself.
Dude, these are good. I have 6 more I want to go through. All of these are uniquely fun. Would you give up? Well, this one's weird. Would you give up Keon Coleman and Travion Henderson for DK Metcalf?
Yes. Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Do you really want to give up Travion for DK?
No, I'm thinking this again. I don't know.
Too long. It's already been revoked. We're moving on.
All right.
Here's one. Would you get now? This is a trade where this person had a purpose. They have Travis Hunter and Travion Henderson.
Okay.
Would you take both of those and turn them into Ashton Genty?
Me? Yes. Me, yes.
I know you would.
But, yeah.
I don't think that gets done in most leagues. I don't think the appetite for Hunter and Henderson is that you can get Ashton Genty for them, but that would be the type of deal where what can you add Henderson to get to do? Here's a fun one. I know what side you'd be on this, but somebody added Joe Flacco to Devon Achane to get Travion Henderson.
The fuck are we doing here, people? You do not trade Devon Achane for any of these.
But Henderson could be the next Achane chain.
Jesus, people, what are we doing? Achane should be you do not trade Achane for any of these rookie running backs. Not a one. Not any of them. Not even Scatterboo, the new running back one of the class. Absolutely not. What are we doing?
Here's a fun one.
Devon Achane, by the way.
Henderson or Quentin Johnston? That one feels like
that's fair.
That is hard for the rational mind that has played Dynasty more than 6 months to wrap their head around.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But what are people talking about? Do we not watch football? Dude, what is the problem? Achane. What is everybody's problem with Achane? Running back 6, running back 5, running back 5.
Are they?
Who are they talking about? I don't know. I assume they are.
You're just putting random comments up. You're so tilted. There's no flow to it or anything,
I just
I think it's just a rant on Achane.
Someone asked for his Achane and 2 firsts for Genty. That is wild. Like, dude, no. First of all, no, I wouldn't be giving up 2
Genty or
firsts.
Achane? Like for
Achane.
Shane, I know
Man.
that is a legit debate. You know what I mean?
Whoever I already have is probably who I'll be holding on to.
Okay, but that's a far cry from adding 2 firsts to one side.
I'm not adding anything to either side. Maybe a fourth, a third. I'll add a third if I want to get it done. I guess you should take Genty if based on nothing but his fantasy value being more.
His vibes, right? People like him more. He's cooler. He's not yesterday's news.
Right. Yeah, he's not like Achane, old and busted, just putting
Dolphins about the fire sale. Achane to the
running back. Oh, Jesus. Make it happen. Please make it happen. Please make it happen.
If Achane went to the Chiefs, would he be RB1 in Dynasty?
How could he not be? No, you know what? No.
Bijan still would.
Yeah, it can't be anyone but Bijan. I mean, Bijan's absolutely ridiculous. He is absolutely ridiculous this year. He is exactly what people said he was going to be when he was drafted, and Arthur Smith did everything in his power to stop. Yeah, Achane is what Jenny hopes to be. You're not wrong.
Describe this feeling, Shane. I did this before the season on Tyler Lockett. And I think it's more valuable to do in the offseason because, like, in this league, you get $100 fab. Someone actually spent 25 out of their 100 to get Tyler Lockett when I cut him. That gave me a lot of joy when I saw that run through. But have you ever done this? You drop the player that you're so sick of having because you can't move him for anything and just let the Sharks fight for him on waivers?
Yeah, who was it? There was literally, it happened to me like 2 weeks ago where I cut someone and then they had a great game and then I immediately had to go back to the waiver wire to try to get them. And
not even the question I asked. Have you ever purposely cut a player you can't trade so other people will fight over him?
Oh, so other people will fight over him?
Like you're so pissed that you cannot trade.
Okay, yes.
Joe Flacco. So you go, you know what? Screw it. I want these points on. I'm just getting rid of them. And you idiots can all bid max fab to pick them up.
I did that last year on a couple teams. I said, I'm tanking. I blasted out a couple offers. I put everyone on the trade block. No one bit. So I said, you know what? Fine. Gone. Guys that were probably worth a third in value, just cut. Just flat out cut. Like dudes like Kendrick Bourne. You know what I mean? Because like people weren't paying. I'm like, all right, well, screw you guys then fight it out over fab and go cry about me cutting usable players when I tried to make the deals.
We had a question I want to scroll up and find. It's I think it was, what would you add to, apologies if I can't find it. What would you add to Malik Neighbors to get, here it is. Oh, that was the first one. It was, would you add to Neighbors to get Amon-Ra?
Yeah.
What would you add?
You didn't say what. No, you just said, would you add? I mean, sure. Can I get away with a third?
There's this question. Is a second too much?
No. A second is the tax you pay for one dude's playing and the other is not. And the one dude that is playing just happens to be in probably in Dynasty, at least a tier below, but production wise, pretty much.
The second is like the money you spend on the water at the airport when you're super thirsty. You know you're going to pay way more than it's worth. Yeah. But like you want something today and you want to fix something that's gone wrong and you have to pay that price. I mean, that's truthfully why you collect those picks. I mean, we've talked about it how many times over the years. Like that's why, like I'm looking right now, I have 78% more third round picks in the next 2 years than I have teams. Meaning if I have 40 teams, I have 85 third round picks. So I've clearly acquired a lot. But I need to get moving on the teams where I have like 3, 4, 5 thirds. Like, what am I doing with them? That's where I have to give myself a way to go spend them on something. Like, I hope I have a hole where I need like a Kendrick Bourne. That's what I want to spend it on. Or a deal that's where I need to fix something and I have to pay a little bit of a tax. I mean, if I can do it with thirds, that's even better. But if you have to pay a second, that would be totally fine. I want to hit that super chat, Caleb's.
Yep. Oh, we both hit it. I'll hit it. Caleb Durate. That's not how you pronounce that. Caleb whatever.
Duarte.
Hey guys,
Thank you for the super chat.
Duarte. I tried to
Duarte.
pronounce that. Duarte. Okay, thank you, Caleb. Hey guys, appreciate y'all. Retooling for 26. Got offered Malik Ibuka, Trey Harris, a 26 first, a 27 first, both late for Puka, CD, Kittle, 10-team super flex. So Malik Ibuka, he's retooling Malik Ibuka and 2 firsts for Puka and CD.
I would do it.
And Kittle. He's giving up Kittle too. But yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Look, Malik.
Kittle is probably worth more than Trey Harris, even though it's a 10-team non-premium league. Like just having him is probably worth more than that. But like getting 2 top 8 dynasty receivers, even though they're not playing right now. Like,
I mean, you're giving up.
You're getting free picks, right? And this does probably help your team get worse, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, I mean, Ibuka and Puka are probably the. I don't know. I'm doing that. You got to do this deal though, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do it. You're trying to retool, so literally you're just swapping out wide receivers that are probably, like you said, in the same tier of the ones that are going to be playing, except yours won't be playing and they won't accumulate points on your roster.
Yeah, I love that deal.
Yeah,
love that deal.
Good deal.
Neighbors for Genty. Would you do that?
Genty for Neighbors straight up. I would trade. I mean, Neighbors.
Like you're trying to move Neighbors for points. Would you take Genty?
Yeah.
That feels like that's a bailout. That feels like that you're getting I would have taken Neighbors before, but it wouldn't have been like egregious, you know what I mean? And the fact that you're getting the bailout now, I think the key when you're moving these guys, and we'll probably talk about this as we get closer to the like trade deadline time for a lot of teams. We don't advocate a trade deadline, but if you have one, a lot of people do. It's probably more pragmatic to wait to trade a guy like Neighbors. If you're already kind of cruising, if you're like 5-1, 6-0, like, and you have Burrow, Neighbors, like, I don't need to move those guys today, Shane. I want to be able to team that if I'm willing to commit to moving those guys, I can wait until there are 5 or 6 teams willing to sell. Then I can kind of pillage what I want from their team at a closer point when I actually need it. There's nothing more powerful than having, I mean, we did it with Rashee Rice last year, right? How many times did you regret trading him away and you didn't have him trade deadline time or playoff time? You're like, man, somebody, I'll give you 2 guys for Rashee Rice if you'll just give me him because he's a great asset for next year. Like, hold on to those really elite guys when they're done for the year. Someone will, because you're already getting pivoting off of non-elite stuff to get a guy like that, and you're probably getting it at a time when that person wants to get rid of players later on in the season. So, anything else? It's 2 minutes until we have to do our sniper active draft. Hopefully,
let's go.
We're still alive.
Dude, we are cruising this year. Actually, I've gotten a steal every week but one.
I just got stolen this week. Well, Ryan got me for the first time.
Yeah, so we've only one loss. Yeah, we're crushing it. It's to the point where I don't want to say it's hard. It's very hard for me to just steal other players for rosters with how many people. I don't have enough room to cut people, or I need to cut people that I don't want to, I should say.
I see John's in here. John, thank you. This is the kind of question we get on Dynasty Deal Show. Like when we get like more comprehensive trade questions with like rosters listed and stuff, like this is where we typically answer those. But let's hit this one real quick for John. If you want Dynasty Deal Show every Friday night, Ty, Shane, and I, all we do is talk through trade theory. That's it. Trades, trade theory, reasons why. Did you get rid of his question, Shane?
I absolutely got rid of it.
Oh my gosh. We gotta scroll all the way back up. That was at the very beginning. So we're gonna give John a little taste. Here we go. I got it.
There you go.
14-team Superflex. It's an orphan. PPR, no premium. Got Jalen Hurts and Bryce Young. Team. Nothing but youth at running back. Puka, Neighbors, Ladd, Ayuk, Burden, Higgins, more youth. Bowers and Ferguson. Got offered Jonathan Taylor for Ladd and Kendre Miller. So this team, do you want to make that deal? Are you confident you can flip JT for more than Ladd and Kendre Miller? It's an interesting offer to a team. Presumably the team offered him the deal knows his team is probably not good.
Yeah.
He still offered him the deal anyway. Would you do it?
Yeah, because I would turn it. I guarantee you can trade him for more than Ladd McConkey. You could literally turn right around and trade him for more than Ladd McConkey. There's no way that you couldn't.
Shane hits the accept button and then goes, First of all, with Sleeper, you have to close the app before you can do anything else.
Oh yeah, because if I don't, it's going to just say he's off my roster, even though he's on my team still somehow. And then Sleeper will go black, and then my phone
You
will
gotta
catch fire.
close it out, swipe up, then you go back into Sleeper and you hit the trade bait on Jonathan Taylor, right?
Sleeper, yeah. And then my phone heats up and I put it down for 15 minutes because Sleeper tried to destroy it anyway. Yeah, and then I'd immediately move him. Immediately.
There you go. Burrow in a top 4 pick for Jaden Daniels.
I'll take Burrow in the top 4. I moved Jaden Daniels last night.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. It's already 9 o'clock. This show flew by. I apologize for the stuff at the beginning. I guess that was a YouTube thing. We didn't realize it. We kept plugging on. Got some good conversation. There really wasn't a super scripted version of this show tonight. So it was fun to just jump in here and hey, we used the wrong view the whole time. Look at that. We were looking like this when it really should have been like this.
Oh.
Either way. Good show. Week 7, everybody. Good luck. If you're not already in our community, do it. Patreon.com/allgas, ddfantasyfootball.com. Either gets you in there. Roster review, QR code on the screen if you're interested in one. And we'll see everybody around Friday for Dynasty Deal Show. Peace.
Oh, holy crap. There's some